you would ever listen!
There have been endless adaptations of Mary Shelley's famous novel, Frankenstein, and the monster in the story has been depicted in every possible grotesque manner, shaping the everlasting popular image of the character. Guillermo del Toro, however, took a slightly different stance, and his take on Frankenstein's monster wasn't just rooted in the elements of horror, but was profoundly human and heart-stirring. Del Toro didn't exactly make Frankenstein's monster all pretty and cute, but he did attach a deep dose of sentimentality and tragedy to an otherwise fearsome creature. But that's not the only intriguing aspect of Del Toro's monster. Turns out, the person playing that ghastly-looking creature is a devastatingly handsome man, Jacob Elordi. Frankly, we've been crushing on Elordi ever since The Kissing Booth was released, and it shot through the roof when he played the role of the quintessential toxic boyfriend Nate in Euphoria. We know, it's a questionable choice. Let's move on. The 28-year-old Australian actor didn't have a rosy journey in Tinseltown. He only had a couple of $100 in his pocket and was sleeping in his car after Kissing Booth wrapped up and thought about returning to Australia as he was struggling to find work. But thank the Lord, Euphoria happened, cementing Jacob's celebrity status overnight. However, Elordi's filmography has been pretty impressive ever since, and now he's got movies like Wuthering Heights and Ridley Scott's Dog Stars in the bag. Elordi has also made quite a sweeping entry into television and managed to earn quite a lot of honorable nominations in less than a decade. So, without further ado, let's check out some insane facts about the man behind Frankenstein's monster who's making all the buzz. Oh, but before we get into this explanation, we do have a very quick request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Jacob was an uncredited extra in Pirates of the Caribbean. In the 2017 film Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales, which had Johnny Depp reprising his role as Captain Jack Sparrow, there was also a young man lost somewhere amidst the crowd who had just moved from Los Angeles to pursue acting. It was none other than Jacob Elordi, who was just 17 when he was cast as an extra in the movie and didn't even get his name in the cast section. It was his first ever film role, and Elordi recalled wearing a red coat in the movie and working as a background actor, playing someone from the British Navy, specifically a St. Martin's Marine. In a 2020 GQ video, Elordi mentioned that it was one of the best jobs he's ever done in his life, but sadly, fans won't be able to spot him easily. Jacob didn't even audition for it, nor was he billed. However, for those who are desperate to find him in the movie, Elordi has given us a clue. Look for a tall guy in a red coat. You bet we will. Elordi's first credited role was in an Australian movie. Elordi considers a minor role he played in Stephen Elliott's film Flammable Children, now known as Swingin' Safari, as his first true film role. In this Australian comedy drama, Elordi played a lifeguard named Rooster. Even here, he wasn't really performing much, more like just standing there, but the 2018 film did credit him as a cast member, but it wasn't his breakthrough role. Set in 1970s Australia, the movie follows three small-town families whose lives are turned upside down when a 200-ton blue whale washes up on the beach, drawing international attention. The film featured big names like Guy Pearce and Kylie Minogue in the leading cast and got a pretty good reception, but for Elordi, the journey had only begun. Fortunately, Jacob didn't have to spend much time in the audition room and was quickly cast as Noah Flynn in the three-part Netflix movie Kissing Booth. This was his first major role, which catapulted him into fame, but as we mentioned earlier, Jacob began to be critically recognized and acclaimed only after Euphoria. Nonetheless, with 2018's Kissing Booth, Jacob garnered a huge fan following, and one fine morning, he woke up to 4 million new followers on social media. However, over time, Elordi came clean about his role in the Kissing Booth trilogy and stated that he never wanted to make those kinds of movies and decided to take on the project because he had no other work back then. In his words, those movies are ridiculous. They're not universal, they're an escape. Elordi got badly hurt while shooting for Euphoria. Euphoria was a crazy, chaotic show that we unapologetically dig. Elordi wasn't just breathtakingly sexy in this series, he also got to play a complex and layered character for the first time, which he absolutely nailed. Now, there was one scene where he had to film a violent confrontation with his dad, played by Eric Dane. He described the sequence as physically grueling in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, and honestly, we felt bad when Nate got hurt, even though he was a jackass. What's even more saddening is that he was actually hurt in real life. Elordi mentioned that they tried to shoot the scene as realistically as possible and went all in without caring what it would entail. Jacob ended up suffering a concussion and ended up puking after work. He reminisced that Eric practically smashed him and that it was incredibly gnarly. However, being the good sport that he is, Elordi has no regrets about the injury and called the final result worthwhile and said that it was the most fulfilling thing he'd ever done. Who was Elordi's acting influence? Believe it or not, one of Batman's arch enemies inspired Elordi to take up acting. Yeah, you heard that right. Heath Ledger's legendary performance as the Joker in The Dark Knight not only posthumously won him an Oscar, but it also heavily influenced Jacob, who often cited him as one of his favorite actors. Elordi was just 11 when he convinced his dad to take him to watch The Dark Knight, and it was the legendary pencil trick scene from the Joker which blew his mind and sowed his passion for acting. He shared in an interview for Wonderland magazine that witnessing a fellow Australian actor in a Chris Nolan film made him realize that somebody was actually doing something special and making a difference. Jacob also shared how the posters gave him the creeps and how every movement and expression from Heath has been etched into his mind. Jacob experienced a full circle moment when the father of Heath, Kim Ledger, presented him with the GQ's TV Actor of the Year award in 2019. Elordi said that he carries a poster of the late actor everywhere and considers him a guiding light whenever something gets a little hard to handle. Jacob learnt the American accent all by himself. For someone who dreamed of carving a niche in Hollywood, Jacob knew he had to work on his accent and tune it to fit the American audience's ears. As a result, he began training himself early on and began using the mass media as his coach. He listened to international radio stations to practice the dialect during his drives from school to home and repeated the words. This man made his own Duolingo to ensure a career in acting. If that's not dedication, we don't know what is. He also gained a taste for American TV shows when he was just a 6th grader with the famous horror series Supernatural, which also helped him improve his own accent. He was also extremely fond of Disney's High School Musical, which he grew up watching and which further helped him pick up the words. Elordi also stated that at one point, the impersonation got kind of aggressive because he was a fan of Eminem. Jacob was crazy about the rap god, and in fact, the first concert his mother ever took him to was Eminem. While he really lucked out there, Elordi learned how to modulate and tone down his voice and keep his love for Eminem aside while rehearsing his American accent. He learned to ride a motorbike for the kissing booth. For someone who doesn't exactly cherish working on a stereotypical and seemingly dumb rom-com, Elordi had to go through quite a lot to portray Nora Flynn as authentically as possible. Noah was inseparable from his motorbike, which obviously made him inexplicably hotter, but in real life, Elordi was no pro at riding bikes and had never had the chance to try it since his mom wouldn't allow it. He was just 20 when he got the role and didn't have the option of using a stunt double for the bike scenes. Consequently, he learned how to ride a motorbike while shooting the kissing booth. Fortunately, that skill has paid off for him because Elordi mentioned that ever since he learned to ride, he's been obsessed with motorbikes. In an interview, the actor jokingly addressed his mother and exclaimed that he wanted to buy one. Yes, please. Can't wait to see his socials flooded with Elordi in a black leather jacket cruising on a bike. Jacob's family has always been a huge support. Jacob was like any other boy who grew up in Brisbane, Australia, harboring a love for acting and sports. Elordi loves basketball, which is pretty explainable given his oh-so-yummy height, and surfing, and he also attended St. Joseph's Nudgee College. The institution nurtured his creative side and allowed him to take part in several school drama productions. This early-stage experience laid the very foundation on which he's built a commendable career in the film industry. Thankfully, Elordi's family has always been a pillar of support in whatever he wanted to do. His parents always encouraged him to follow his heart and chase his dreams no matter what, and they have constantly motivated him throughout his roller coaster of a journey. Elordi also had some helpful friends. While the production would be shooting in South Africa for the Kissing Booth movies, he would crash on a friend's couch in the San Fernando Valley. Ultimately, his easygoing personality, compassionate friends and family, and obviously his God-gifted looks helped him raise as an insanely talented actor. Elordi's romance saga. Seems like Jacob Elordi has quite a history of getting romantically involved with his co-stars. Understandable. He dated the Kissing Booth protagonist, Joey King, for a year after they met on the set, but unfortunately, they broke up. However, they kept on working together for later installments of the film. Soon after, when he starred alongside Zendaya in Euphoria, rumors started floating around in 2019 about the two being together. In 2020, they confirmed those speculations and were seen sharing a kiss in New York, proving that they'd been secretly dating for months. But that too didn't last for long, and between 2020 and 2021, he was known to be with Kaya Gerber. The two were first spotted in Malibu in September 2020, and by November, they were posting couple costumes for Halloween on Instagram. They reportedly split in 2021, and the next girl that walked into Elordi's life was the famous American YouTuber Olivia J. Giannulli. The two came together in December 2021, but broke up within a few months in August 2022. However, their relationship became a topic of public gossip when they reunited again in 2023. Fans believed they were dating until August 2025 because by November this year, Elordi was said to be dating the model Kristen Keenel. Oh boy, this guy's gonna have some stories to tell his kids about how he met their mother. Elordi didn't want to be typecast. Kissing Booth did turn him into just a pretty boy, and he remained stuck playing the typical American teenager roles in films like Two Hearts and On Swift Horses. These performances definitely boosted his popularity, and his fan following only increased. He got overwhelming attention for his looks, physique, and style. Elordi even bagged quite a few awards in the department of appearance and appeal. However, he began fearing that his looks overshadowed his acting abilities. In an interview with Men's Health, Jacob spilled how he would be nervous that he wouldn't fit many scripts and that he wasn't remotely as obsessed with his body as everyone else. To ensure that he didn't end up being typecast, Elordi took on more character-driven roles in Priscilla, Saltburn, He Went That Way, and Frankenstein. Thankfully, with the phenomenal success of Frankenstein, he would no longer be associated only with his looks and hopefully as a rightful successor to Heath Ledger. Elordi lied about his height. Jacob Elordi actually stands at a towering height of 6 feet and 5 inches, but when he first entered the industry, Jacob began lying about his height, fearful that he was too tall to be cast. Elordi already experienced rejection over his height when he tried modeling at the age of 15 and was told that he was too tall for sampling sizes. Even as an actor, the height became an issue, and Jacob would often try to pass auditions by lying, saying he was 6'2" or 3 inches. He later joked about it, saying that probably tall people didn't experience emotions as such, and claimed that people would have noticed that he wasn't really that tall had he not been cast opposite a lead in Kissing Booth who was just 5'2". Elordi said, "Everyone's like, you're so big." Yeah, but they're also not big, not even average-sized women. They're quite small. However, the makers of Euphoria cleverly played with Jacob's height. His character, Nate, was intentionally shot in a way that portrayed the idea that he always loomed over his on and off girlfriend, Maddie, sometimes protectively and at other times threateningly. Euphoria's producer was a godsend for Elordi. Circling back to when Elordi was living in his 2004 Mitsubishi, he was saved by a kind-hearted producer for Euphoria. While filming the pilot episode, this person would notice Jacob spent a lot of time in his trailer and the car parked next to it. Turns out the car was his room, which was stacked with boxes, coat hangers, and filled with the actor's possessions. He figured out that Jacob didn't have a place to put up and thus got him a room at the Boutique Hotel, the Standard in West Hollywood. Jacob called it a Los Angeles happy story, and though having a roof over his head was a huge help, soon Jacob found himself struggling with other issues, which we'll address next. Jacob wasn't happy with public attention. Indeed, Jacob Elordi was every living man's dream who became a highly sought-after star in the blink of an eye. However, it was a two-pronged situation for him. While on one hand, Jacob was grateful for all the love fans were showering on him, he realized it came at a distressing cost, leaving his previous life behind. The morning Elordi's Instagram followers increased by leaps and bounds, he sat back and had to delete all his earlier posts, including his high school pictures. Jacob basically had to erase the life he had curated on social media since his teenage years, and the actor recalled it being too drastic of a change for him. He also expressed his disappointment at being followed constantly by the paparazzi and being clicked every now and then. Jacob felt he had become a billboard advertisement and discussed how he was scared of losing himself, his own identity, to the world's perception of him. When he was cast alongside Ben Affleck in Deep Water, Jacob talked to the senior actor about his experience with the media, and as far as he recalled, Affleck warned him that the more tabloid attention he gets, the more he'll start feeling like a phony. This advice stuck with Jacob, who's tried to handle the prying public eyes with caution. The young celebrity stated, "I don't want to lose the entirety of who I was when I was little, and when I grow up, to whatever this, I won't say beast because it's not at all negative, to whatever this public version of myself is now, I still want to be in touch with my younger self, which is everything that I am." He had to go through extremely long makeup sessions for Frankenstein. Del Toro had great faith in Jacob from the moment he chose to bring Frankenstein's monster to life, and Elordi did not disappoint. He knew the monumental dedication and patience the role called for and went all in. It took about 10 to 11 hours to apply all the makeup and prosthetics to him, and stylist Mike Hill praised Elordi for not complaining even once. He even wore brown contacts to make one of his eyes look bigger. Hill mentioned that they had to redo the full body design about 20 times during the entire shooting schedule, and Elordi would use that time to immerse himself in the character's mind and soul. Jacob considers his transformation into the creature as a metamorphosing experiment, not just on set, but in his life too. Elordi is a socially aware person. Oh Lord, this boy was handcrafted by the angels. I mean, he just keeps giving us more reasons to admire him every day. Apart from being the amazing performer he is, Elordi is also a responsible citizen who's not afraid to voice his opinions regarding political matters. In 2018, he took part in the March for Our Lives protest and actively spoke out in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. That's not all. He's also been an advocate for mental health awareness and uses his platform to discuss the importance of mental well-being. He encourages people to seek help help, making a positive impact on the various people who look up to him. As it so happens, a lot of youngsters idolize him for promoting hard work and commitment. His own rise to global fame from such humble beginnings inspires countless people to go after their dreams. He's a great photographer. We're totally convinced this guy is pretty special. He's a storehouse of hidden skills, including being an incredible photographer. He revealed this by sharing behind-the-scene photographs from Frankenstein's set, which the actor took to give fans a closer look at the creative process and labor that went into materializing the most ambitious project of the year. If you feel storehouse was too big a word, he'll prove you wrong by singing like a dream. His first ever stage performance was as the Cat in the Hat in a production of Seussical, where he sang surprisingly well. Honestly, is there anything this guy can't do? Marvelous verdict. Now, that was a lovely ride. Jacob Elordi became a global heartthrob quite a few years ago, but with his outstanding performance in Frankenstein, he proved to the world that he was much more than just a pretty face. Elordi is an immensely skilled actor who's destined to only grow and shine in the upcoming years. Not just acting, he's also found a place in the modeling world and now works with brands like Calvin Klein, Hugo Boss, and Bottega Veneta. A lot of people fell in love with Elordi the very first time he appeared on screen, and he's only affirmed their trust in him. This extremely modest actor has recently appeared in various talk shows and candidly gave us a sneak peek into his life, and it's that boy next door aura that makes him all the more precious. Let us know what your favorite fact about Elordi was, and keep going gaga over him, because that's precisely what the rest of the world is doing. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Otherwise, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.